Well, hi there, welcome back. This week I got a couple of stories submitted by some of our subscribers. So the first one was submitted by Nate. He says, so my wife, Grenda, and I take a yearly hike up Mount Nobblebuster over in Colorado. Last year on the hike, she'd lost a pan from her backpack. The pan had been hanging from the outside of her pack, attached by a rigid cord through the hook of the pan's handle. Now, sometime during the hike back down the mountain the previous year, it had become detached and was now missing. So we were on the lookout for the pan this year. If it hadn't been bent out of shape too much or stolen by some other hikers, maybe we could locate the pan and use it once again for sizzling our chicken and spices. We had no idea the whereabouts on the hike, that we'd lost the pan, so we were being eagle-eyed our entire journey, not even talking to each other as we scanned the undergrowth on the side of the track, hoping to see Grenda's pan. We were walking through a particularly dense piece of forestry when I spied what looked like a pan at the side of the track path. "Grenda!" I rasped. I had to tell her that I found her pan at the side of the path after a whole year. I turned around and noticed that Grenda had gone. Looking further, I saw her beyond some trees. Her hands were in the brush. She called over to me, telling me excitedly that she found her pan. If that was her pan, then what had I just seen? 5 alive? Turning back around to my side of the path, I looked once more for what I'd seen. The part of the undergrowth seemed familiar. This was the same place, but the pan had gone. I just couldn't see it anywhere. Had I been mistaken, or had I seen a ghoulish rendition of our pan, teasing me for some evil reason? I returned to the path and met Grenda, who was holding the pan aloft. It was her old pan for sure. She had scratched her initials on the pan's side when we first bought it all those years back. I decided not to tell Grenda about what I'd just seen. She was so elated and enthusiastic to continue our journey up the mountain with her pan, I didn't want to dampen her spirits in any way. Now that evening, she scrubbed the pan with water from the nearby mountain stream, and we enjoyed some mountain spice chicken. After we'd eaten, I had nightmares that night of a laughing ghoul hiding in the forest, playing mayhem with everybody he came across. Now, this second story was submitted by Hot Jack. Okay, this one's about something that happened to him while visiting a mine with his friends. Okay, so the story goes like this. It was a hot July in 2019. I just started my new job at Walmart in the produce department. I've been unemployed for 12 years now and was happy to finally get a good career. Me and my buddies T-Chip and Drayden decided to visit a local mine that was open to the public. Going underground would give us shelter from the summer sun for a few hours after all. We arrived at the abandoned Slill Pipe mine and rented helmets and flashlights from the tourist office. We were offered a guide for only $10, but T-Chip decided that we saved the money for the bar that evening. He'd rather spend the money on a good beer than on a guide, you see. As we walked into the mine, we noticed how thin the passage was. The first 2 hours of the mine tour was uneventful until we broke through into the Silpipe Grotto, a natural cavern with pools of still water and bats fluttering overhead. 5 alive. As we walked, T-Chip playfully lurched at Drayden, screaming to make him jump. Drayden fell to the ground backwards, impaling his soft shoulder on a pointed stalactite. Luckily, I had a first aid kit in my cover bag and unpacked the contents as T-Chip went for help. Drayden was stuck there on a sharp rock pillar, bleeding his red body water all across the cavern floor. I tried to lift his shoulder up to get it off the stalactite, but it was jammed on tight. Stringy sinews were hanging down from the wound, shining in my torch light. Later that day at the hospital, the doctors had patched his shoulder right up, and he was in good spirits when he told me that he'd seen something behind me that moment in the cabin. While I was looking in the contents of my first aid bag to help him out, he looked behind me and had seen a shambling, translucent person approaching me from behind, holding a ghostly blade aloft, as if to stab my head top. That's when I knew that I wasn't going to go back to Siltpipe Mine ever again. I'm not going there again. I might be in some danger if there's ghosts in there. Okay, thanks very much for submitting that, Hot Jack. That was a truly scary story if ever I've heard one. Okay, guys, thanks for listening to my stories. Hopefully you'll give my very good channel a subscribe there. Okay, and I'll catch you next time. Hopefully I'll see what other stories I can rustle up from more of my guys. Okay, take care, guys. All the best. Bye. Bye.
Thank you ever so much for watching my very good video. Don't forget to subscribe to the Very Good channel and come back next week for another very good video. A video to watch. Now, it's a good video.